Today on Hit the Mic TV, we are talking about what social networks you're supposed to be using. Are you using the right ones? You might not be. So we're going to talk about what social networks to use. I'm going to give you a 3-item checklist to go through every time you come across a new network to figure out whether it's a useful piece of real estate or a total waste of your time. Because let's be honest, none of us want to waste time with social media. We all have a limited number of hours in the day and only so much brain space, right? So should you waste time on these networks, or should you double down on other networks that you're already on? First things first. Who's your ideal client? If you don't know this one really big piece of information, it's going to make everything else really difficult. Starting with where you're supposed to be spending your time. If your ideal client is a 19-year-old gamer who's in college and a dude, Pinterest, probably not going to be your bread and butter. However, if it's a 29-year-old stay-at-home mom who is trying to go gluten-free, it's going to be a great place because she's going to be looking for recipes, she's going to be looking for things to do with her kids, and all around they tend to spend more time there, especially as a female versus a male, although there are a lot of dudes on Pinterest. Think about whether your target market is going to be spending a lot of time in your space. Another really great example of this is something like Snapchat. If your target market is 13-year-old girls, Facebook, not maybe your best bet. However, Snapchat's a really great place to connect because they're the biggest user base. It's those teenage users. So think about who your ideal client is. Number dose, or 2 for our English-speaking friends. What kind of content do you put out? If your content is video-based, then YouTube is a really good option. Also, you can embed video on Facebook. You can link to YouTube videos and play them inside of Pinterest. So think about where your content is going to be housed and what kind of content it's going to be. So you can make sure those are really meshing together. If you have really, really visual content, like you're a photographer or fashion blogger or a stylist, you have a really visual brand, Pinterest, Facebook, Google+, all of these are really, really highlighting really great visual content these days. So go after that. Make sure that you're embracing that. Also places like Instagram. Really great places for you to be because you have really visual content. Highlight that about your content. Item number 3, and this is my personal favorite, avoid networks you hate. Because here is the honest truth. If you hate it, they will know. Because my experience as a fan of your page or a follower on Twitter, if you hate a network, is going to be really clear this is not your favorite place to be. It'll come across in the way you engage, it'll come across in the content you share. It's just gonna be really clear that this is not your favorite thing to be doing. Maybe don't spend a ton of your time there. I'm not saying you don't spend some time because we all have to eat our vegetables. Well, I really like vegetables. We all have to do things we don't love doing, but if you really, really hate a network, maybe it's not where you invest your time. If you go in and you realize that maybe you kind of should be there based on these 3 questions, here's what you should do. Make sure you're protecting yourself on every network. I like to go to any new networks that I hear about or find out about and make sure I reserve my name, the Stacey Harris. That way I know if A, it catches fire and I decide, maybe I should jump on Snapchat, my name was already mine. Also, it keeps some other adorable pink-haired girl from logging on and pretending to be me at the handle the Stacey Harris. Because as you guys know, that's where you find me all the time. Make sure you go and you sort of take ownership of your identity there, and also point them someplace they can be. This is one of my biggest tips around Google+, is it's connected to a lot of things. So even if you don't want to use it, take the time to fill out your profile and point people to someplace you are on. So maybe on Facebook, it's, hey, I don't spend a lot of time here, join me over on Twitter, whatever it may be. That way they know where they can find you and really connect with you. But you still take ownership of that space. And it's a really, really, really cheap way to protect your brand and your identity. All right? All right, that's Hit the Mic TV today. If you liked it, like this video with a thumbs up, leave a comment in the comment area below, and of course share it with your friends, and subscribe to the channel because new episodes come out every Sunday. See you next time. The video manager in my YouTube channel. We're looking right over here for live events. This is basically going to walk us through